I'm Kelsey Moser, and you're watching Thorin's YouTube channel, where no sandbagging goes unscrutinized.
We're going to start with, obviously, thanks to all the sponsors. Like, I've just finished it now, but I had my Gamer Subs again here. Shout out to anyone who gets 10% off and supports me by using the code Thorin at gamersubs.gg. I like loads of the flavours there. Also, the teas are pretty good. Here's a good one. It's just one of those people who just insults me every time over a bunch of stupid shit. So let's see how I'm wrong about everything I ever say. So I say here, if I'm Navi, I tell Simple to join. This guy goes, remove Imma and put Simple in. And he goes, and who's the sniper, dumbass, in April? Like, well, obviously, we already know Simple said he wanted to play rifle, and they have wonderful, like... So you ready? He goes, ever heard of CS2? This is after they won the major. They won the major, by the way, I think on April 1st or the 31st of March or something. And he goes, ever heard of the CS2 major winning AWP named Wonderful? And he goes, and what is Simple? Oh, wow, a sniper too. Except he writes TO. So this guy hasn't even kept up that in CS2, Simple didn't want to be the AWPer. He hasn't kept up on that. But this guy's a moron. Well, if he's replying to a random guy as a moron, you can imagine how he's going to reply to me. Get ready. Make sure you have 2 proper studios to provide an optimal viewing experience for live fans. By the way, he was mocking me before in a CS thread. Get ready. This is an idiot that I'm just wrong in every game. He doesn't follow every game, but he's going to be right. So in LCS, basically, they said this thing here, make sure you have 2 monitors for an optimal viewing experience, right around the time that they had to literally have the LCS players, one of those giant American sports leagues that you buy into for $10 million. They were playing in like a fucking broom closet, like a small studio off to one side, so they could use the main LCS studio in Burbank for Valorant, for VCT. So a smaller game, Valorant, was getting to take the main studio of what was a league people bought into for $10 million. So I say make sure you get 2 proper studios to provide an optimal viewing experience. So then like you can have a proper amount of live fans. Go. So this dickhead goes, yep, as we saw in the Berlin studio, dumbass, it's always half empty. Right, so you ready? Because... they didn't provide a proper sized studio in LCS. Since in LEC in Germany, LCS is in California, Los Angeles in North America. Since in Germany, their studio wasn't full, I'm a dumbass for wanting a studio in Los Angeles, because since the one in Germany wasn't full, logically the one in Los Angeles won't be full either. Because reasons. They're both just studios. I guess studios are just naturally occurring emergent phenomena, right? They're not actually venues that you hold of differing sizes and types of seating and then charge people, usually from the local area, to attend. And those are different peoples who have different motivations and interests in attending and even disposable income to spend on those things. Have you seen how fucking good I am at just coming up with all this shit off the top of my head and saying it coherently? It's almost like I'm not a dickhead 19-year-old who came out of a dick in Uzbekistan 5 seconds ago, is it? It's like I know what I'm doing. I'm cooking. So let's see how I'm wrong about everything, shall we? Let's check in on Reckless's career, right? Reckless, formerly one of the best European ADCs ever, went to Korea and plays in the 2nd division there, the Challenger League, where no famous player plays. And he played for T1 Academy. And look where this is. After 11 series played, his team was 3-8. And they were 2nd from bottom in the whole league. So I go, let's check in on Reckless's career and just post the league standings. And he goes, where is he? Well, Reckless is in the 2nd to last team. And he goes, I see team stats, not player stats, big guy. Now, the reason that is mental, if you know League of Legends, is the entire premise of Reckless fans is that when Reckless's team wins, that proves he was a champion and the greatest player ever. But when Reckless's team loses, that proves nothing about who he is. And you should only check individual stats. So already we know this guy's an utter clown with a blank picket sign and a Sharpie, and whatever I say, he's going to write, I'm against that thing. So get ready. Here's a good one. So in here, someone actually tagged Richard Lewis and said the just chatting section, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitch, because look what it was. It was someone showing their tits in cleavage on a couch. It was someone showing their tits with cleavage on a seat. This one isn't even anyone doing anything. Then it was someone in literally like fucking stockings and lingerie showing themselves on stream. Then there's Richard Lewis. Then there's, I mean, that's actually a woman who's like got Tourette's, who's barely even showing cleavage, but you just mean that one. Then there's this woman down here in her skimpies. She's showing that to get attention. There's just another woman. Then there's a woman wearing literal lingerie, like some agent provocateur or something, a bodysuit down there. So they're obviously flexing on the just chatting section. They are being titillating, salacious in where they're... By the way, if you don't know, the images here in the bottom right and the one in the middle middle line on the left, those like 15 or 25 years ago, that would be like the cover art on like GQ or FHR magazine. Boys would pay £5 to take that image and literally masturbate over it. That is like what it was even sold for. Back then, you didn't have magazines like Nuts in the UK where you could buy and actually see the girls' naked tits. It was only certain newspapers that were very low class for working class people, or literal porn mags on the top shelf, blacked out and hidden away that you have to ask for in a weird shop or find in the woods. That was actually not normal at all. So the point being made in this tweet is, one, Richard Lewis is just in the middle of all these women. And then two, a bunch of these women, especially these ones, are heavily flexing their sexuality, even though it's a platform where little kids can just go and watch people just chatting about stuff. So they're obviously selling sex to their viewers, right? That's the point being made. So I put one day closer to Transmetropolitan. Because if you don't know, in Transmetropolitan, there's a character called Spider Jerusalem who's based on Hunter S. Thompson. Now, are you ready for a bunch of lore here? Richard Lewis's actual alias when he first began in esports was Dr. Gonzo, which is obviously a character from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. And what happened was, Warren Ellis, the comic book writer, was a big fan of Hunter S. Thompson and his gonzo journalism style. And he basically took that character of Dr. Gonzo and he modified some of it and made a character called Spider Jerusalem, which is a fantastic central character for the comic Transmetropolitan. And it's quite clearly a mixture of Dr. Gonzo and Hunter S. Thompson himself, and then also Warren Ellis's own like counterculture sentiments and his own way of battling. Oh, by the way, shout out to Saint Yankov for subscribing. And it was his way of like embodying that. So in Transmetropolitan, it's set in a dystopian technological future, decades away from ours, where there's all sorts of tech and media. This was actually done in like the 90s and the 2000s, where basically the premise is they have all fucked up tech and essentially what now would have been TikTok. He was trying to predict things like that back then, like influencers and individual celebrities and even transgenderism and people getting alien, like people essentially getting like surgery to be part alien and part human, and it explores all sorts of interesting ideas. So I point out, this is like some dystopian screen from Transmetropolitan where kids go, hey, I'll watch some streamers, and it's all just women like, oh, hey, how you doing, guys? Oh, naughty, what was I doing? And clearly packaging and selling sex under the radar to just get attention, and how dystopian that is. So this mentally ill lunatic goes, add sexist to the long list of adjectives. Got him! Let's keep going. I'm going to be wrong every week of this year, I know that. Imagine a major with good seeding, best of 3 every group match, double elim playoff and BO5 final. And he goes, pay for it. Now, what's hilarious is anyone who's followed my content knows I actually am in favour. I am pro pay-per-view, and I would gladly pay for a major with that kind of setup. In the same way as I pay for the NFL pass to watch the NFL pass, I pay for the UFC fight pass, I pay for the basketball one, I used to get it free from E-League, I pay actually to have a bunch of Dutch services so I can watch Premier League football and National League and National Football and Champions League football. You have to have different services for a bunch of these. I do. So already it's a stupid thing to go pay for it, but I know how dumb people think. And I'm going to tell you, he doesn't even mean that, guys. He means if I want those things, I have to pay and put on the major myself. Now let's use that logic for him when he disagrees with me. You do it. You pay for it. It's a moron's logic. But get ready. I love the way the new EG CEO says the social media numbers for Valorant were some of the biggest the org has had in 25 years. As if everyone was on Twitter and TikTok in 1999, EG was a fucking Quake team at the time. So I've just given you a lesson in esports history. This guy and all of you guys didn't know, which was when the person goes, our social medias are some of the biggest. They said this, that we've had in 25 years. That's like the whole history of the org. That's a disingenuous statement because social media didn't exist 25 years ago. That would be like me saying, are you ready? I'll do my equivalent of that. So Overwatch League was established in what? 2018, I think, was the first season. That would be like in 2020, or Blizzard goes, Overwatch League just hit its highest numbers for 30 years. It's like it only existed for 2 years. That's a totally disingenuous statement because you're giving off the impression it's existed for 30 years, or at least most of 30 years. In 1999, EG was a small Quake clan. It wasn't even an organisation. It wasn't a company. You don't even know the players who played for it. You're thinking, oh, I know EG, the CS team from Canada. That wasn't even around back then. I think that came around in like maybe 2003 or 2004. Before that, by the way, Stevenson played for a team called Nerve at fucking WCG 2002 and won the silver medal and was smurfing on the event. He wasn't in a team called EG. They were a Quake clan back then. And then they had an early CS team, and then they became eventually an org, and Alex Garfield took over, and people like Matt Mark, who worked with them, etc., blah, blah, blah. And eventually one day they became one of the biggest orgs in the world. So I've made, again, a really interesting historical point and an analysis of like how media is used to lie and be disingenuous by modern day CEOs. So get ready for this moron. He goes, baby girl. So he's already doing that thing where they just like, it's usually women who do this. They just go like, oh, sweaty, ah. So you've got to go, baby girl, then explain, why did we see influencers losing millions of followers after disappearing from fame? Right. So guys, I've just pointed out that EG's numbers for Valorant can't have been some of the biggest in a meaningful sense because there wasn't social media. I mean, Valorant itself only came out in 2020. And his logic is, well, that's not true because influencers can lose millions of followers after not being famous. Is this even a human? Is this some kind of ape replying to me right now? There's no way. That's a non sequitur like I've never seen before. Get ready. This is a good one. For someone who looks like a horse, Nuke sure likes calling other people animals. Nuke kept saying, I'm a dog. So, okay, if you don't know, he looks like K-Shane, but you look like a horse, bro. So we're doing looks. Get ready for how mad this is. He goes, really? Coming on look. He then picks 3 pictures which aren't even vaguely bad ones for me. Like, by the way, this just looks fire. Like, if you hate that, you just hate white people. I'm sorry. That's actually like a good looking at a white guy with a beard. I'm even pretty young back then. I think at this point in time, I'm probably like, I think that was in 2013. So I would be like, that might even have been when I was just 30. I look fucking good there, bro. By the way, where's your picture? That looks fucking good. By the way, if that was your dad, you'd be really fucking happy. Your dad doesn't look like that. And by the way, look how I look now at 41. You will never age like this. Your dad didn't age like this. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make it a genetic thing, but fucking hell, some of us hit the lottery, didn't we? Weird how that works. Then there's another one. This is mega because this is, again, a totally normal looking picture from someone from my background, but it's been downloaded so many times by dickheads on the internet. It's insanely refried, and that's the only reason it looks even slightly weird because it looks like I'm on like a Game Boy Color and I'm like 8-bit. But obviously the original image was just normal quality that looked totally fine. By the way, there's loads of pictures of me when I had like a certain skin rash at one point in time and I had rosacea and there's times I was fatter. You could take those pictures. I look really fucked up. He hasn't even done that. And then the last one is mental. This is one where I think I'm like 27 and I just look totally normal. Oh, we're coming after looks. And then he acts like I'm like Quasimodo or something. You know what? I think someone who looks like that can absolutely take someone who looks like this. I'll show you. I'll literally show. Let's compare. We'll do a little compare and contrast, shall we? So we're going to go BDS nuclear int. So who looks better? This guy just looks suave, quite frankly, or this guy? Who has the horse face? This guy or this guy? Who looks normal, like a normal human being, and who looks like a horse? Mate, if I told you your little sister had gone to the library and this guy followed her home, what would your reaction be? Would you go, no, could never be. He looks like a totally normal, cool guy, quite frankly. You'd go, that creep. Look at that fucking stash. I love it. So anyway, let's keep seeing why I'm shit. It's going to be, by the way, this is all because I've flamed nuclear, it turns out, but it's going to be good anyway, so let's keep going. Right, watch. Congratulations, because since the nuke guy responded to me and directly flamed me, once you flame me, you've opened the door for us both to directly interact, so then I'm going to tag you, bitch. So because he told me, Nuke, that he would like win the next series and show how shit I am, when he then lost and was really bad in some of the games, I put congratulations to Nuclear, who's my MVP for the series because he lost it. Mad Lions couldn't have won it without you and the full skill set you put on display, just pure banter in it. This guy, are you ready? You always know someone's 17 where they think just saying your age means they win. They go, born March 1983, born in 1983. So, because I said nuclear was shit in a game, you were born in 1983. This is a knowledge-based field, so the longer I've been alive, the more chance I'd have to have more knowledge. Therefore, I would have a natural advantage over you and nuclear in. You're actually making my case for me. The other way around, if you were born, by the way, in like, I don't know, 1999, you're a little noob. If you were born in 2005, I've got bad news to you, you're a little noob. You know fuck all. Similar one. This is the guy coming in a 20-year-old. As in making a tweet about him. I can't believe, look at him. Look at this hideous creature coming after a 20. Look at this creature from the fucking Black Lagoon coming after an innocent 20-year-old boy. Look at this disgusting 41-year-old evil creature with white skin coming after a 20-year-old baby 18 years after being a baby. This is like that fucking sketch. I'll finish this in a minute. This is like that sketch, if people remember, from fucking, what was it called? Brass Eye that Chris Morris did, where he did a paedophilia special. And on it, he had this thing where he goes, it goes something like, if a girl was 2 years old, but she's now 18 and I want to sleep with her, what do you think of that? And they were like, you're sick. Because all they heard was if she's 2 years old, even though they were mentioning she's now 18. So they were like, you're sick in the head. It was a comedy skit, but that's basically what this fucking guy is like in it. I know, it's amazing. Get ready. It's all going to be about my age. You are coming. Oh, no, wait a second. By the way, this is a very different accusation. Before he said I was coming at him, I absolutely categorically deny coming on a 20-year-old. I never came on any 20-year-old male French League of Legends player, or for that matter, any male player of any game, age 20 or otherwise. I've actually never come on a man. I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. You're coming on a 20-year-old. Not really what you mean to say, but we get it. Do I need to make you re-a-dad? What does it mean? Am I going to just go up to someone's dad? Do I need to make you re-a-dad? What's re-a-dad? What does it mean? What does it mean, though? It goes, like a real 45-year-old. Right, first of all, I'm 41. If 41's bad, by the way, why do you need to make it 45? Here's another thing. If 40's bad, why did you all say ever since I was 30, that it was 30, 31? In fact, why did you... By the way, if Nuke was 23 and I was 25, you'd go, wow, 25-year-old man still act like this. The year is irrelevant and means nothing. But yeah, like a real... So a real 45-year-old man would be a dad, maybe be a dad, and come on a 20... I don't fucking even know at this point in time. No one knows, mate. No one... Probably French, let's be real. Probably just French, innit? Pokemon, of course. Not only that, one of the shit Pokemon... Oh, it's a snake, actually. My bad. I thought that was actually like Charmander. It's just a snake drinking beer or something. Okay. Oh, there we go. French, of course. You know what? I should have just scrolled this whole thing, guys, and gone, oh, my bad, he's French, dickhead. See ya. But let's look. So this guy, some caster in France, he's a coach that works for Giant X and used to work for Carmine Corp, just says some stupid shite about Nuke slamming me. And then this guy goes, in no case is it worth it. Yeah, this guy, it's not worth it flaming Thorin, says guy who then flames Thorin constantly on Twitter. Thorin, it's only working like that. He means as in like, I only get fame when you tweet at me, even though he then tweets at me. Nuke proves Thorin's point. Well, it sounds like I'm winning so far, bro. Before I was coming at a 20-year-old, but now I'm even right. I think I don't need to remind you of the current situation of BDS since Adam's bench. This is absolutely not... He actually agreed with me! He agreed with me like, what, fucking the same day that he was flaming me. Here's another good one. Get ready for the mental illness about everyone French. Get ready. The most OP part of Spirit's lineup. Right, you ready? Get ready. Get ready for this non sequitur from a Czech Notes French dickhead who can't speak English. The most OP part of Spirit's lineup is there is no overlap between Donk and Shiro, so both can play to the maximum of their abilities without impinging on what the other one wants to do. And this is during IM Katowice. He goes, you forgot to @Ziwu, Duncan. It was a post about how Donk and Shiro, an aggressive entry rifler and a passive clutch follow-up AWPer, work together and don't overlap that diminish how they play, and that's one of the best things about Team Spirit who's winning this event. And he goes, oh yeah? Well, why don't you @my favourite player, Duncan? Why would I? What does that mean? This guy is having sex with his wife. I've already been so generous there. 1, he sleeps with women. 2, he has a wife. 3, he's getting to have sex. But let's be magnanimous. He's having sex with his wife. She goes, oh, baby, I love you. Oh, keep giving me it like that. He goes, Shouldn't you say something about Ziwu now, my dear? Just mentally ill as fucking. I know. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. This guy, right, would actually take an enormous dose of salvia, be cast out of consensus reality into a warped dimension where he existed partially inside of a wall, but was also an immortal speck of consciousness trapped for 10,000 years, as it felt like to him perceptually through that whole time, as a malevolent demonic entity, and another part of the dimension communicated telepathically with him that he would always be subjugated in three-dimensional reality where he was a slave in the Matrix. And he would go, oh yeah, 2 million year old demonic entity that lasts forever in my perceptual time dilation. Shouldn't you tell me about Ziwu now? I can't. You know what? We'll just finish this guy, and then that'll be the end of this segment. We'll do the Q&A after this. We'll just keep going. Get ready. This is going to be good. Right, because GL started playing a game without his mouse being fully charged. Now, guys, if you're a professional esports player who plays a game with a mouse and keyboard, I'm going to say the most basic, most low-level basic expectation of professionalism is if your mouse is a wireless one that needs charging, charge your mouse before the game. Remember, in the modern day, in most tournaments, you can only even play one game in a day. So you have the whole day and all your travel time to just charge it and just have enough to play one match. But no, I'm going to be the prick because I point out maybe you should have your mouse charged. So since GL's an actual knuckle-dragging cretin who looks like an Easter Island statue that got up and walked off and travelled illegally to Lithuania and became a professional player in Na'Vi, because he's a dum-dum and has been proven so in everything, and every time he opens his mouth he shows what an utter cretin he is, I just say, doesn't really shock me. A player who's thicker than pig shit went into a match without a fully charged mouse. And then I do that emote that you all love of like, what can I do, eh? What can I do? So then this guy goes, how's the ratio going for you, Duncan? Because what happened was, I think GL must have replied and ratioed me, right? So because GL got 5.7k likes, that means I was proven wrong and what I said lost. Now here's what I'll never understand. If someone has 5 likes, and someone gets 100 likes replying to them, the 100 likes is now amazing and proves that you're right. But when I get 700 likes, that can never prove I'm right. Even though we're also, like, a like isn't a like, is it? Like, a dickhead like this guy liking your post means nothing. A very intelligent person liking your post might mean it was interesting. He ignores that. So 700 likes means nothing because GL posted and he's a famous player, so he got 5.7k likes. So that's why he goes, how's the ratio going? These are the people in 2024 still think like ratio is a thing. That's how terminally online they are. They think ratioing people is a thing. Mental, innit? How many more is there? Oh, there's not that many, so we're almost finished. Get ready. Notice how he always calls me Duncan. Notice I never use Duncan in my name anywhere else now. Because I decided, actually, we're all identified, we're all now aliases. So whenever they tried to use my birth name, they're always just being a prick. So it's all good. The national stuff might be good for fans, but it is going to be the death of elite competition in LEC. Get ready, here's why. When these orgs show absurd bias to not cutting bad French or Spanish players and instead scapegoating other nationalities, the league is cooked. My point is that the elite competition in LEC is going to degrade because you have orgs like famously Mad Lions that used to just be whatever players and try to be the best and win LEC and go to Worlds. They're now going to favour people from their country. So, for example, in Mad Lions, they're going to absolutely cut people who aren't Spanish, and it's more likely if you're Spanish, you get to stay. This already was proven in Carmine Corp, because in Carmine Corp, the 2 French players that were the solo laners were shit, Cabachard and especially Sakin, but they got to stay for another split. They were only cut 2 splits later because they're French, so they got the bias in their favour. And by the way, Upset, who's mega, will probably be cut from Carmine Corp because he's German, and they're going to bring in Calist, I think a French support that was in the LFL. So they're going to bias it just in favour of nationality. So that obviously will make the league weaker because you are being essentially discriminatory. Now look, it's not the end of the world. You can do that if you're Spanish org. For you, it might be a good thing. For the strength of the league, it's worse. So this mentally ill guy goes, Duncan, I really need to understand how can a man live with an IQ so low and still talk, right? So he doesn't even understand how low IQ people can talk, right? If there's one thing low IQ people can do, it's make sounds with their mouth. You're kind of showing it right now. 10 years in a row, EU never stood a chance, right? 10 years in a row. It's 2024 now. If you don't know, guys, in 2019, an EU team, G2, was one best of 5 from going undefeated in the year in best of 5 play and winning every single tournament. They won the 2 LEC splits, they won the mid-season invitational, and the last tournament they were in the final of Worlds. But by his logic, they never stood a chance. Then the year before that, in 2018, another European team, Fnatic, made it all the way to the final of Worlds as well, and then lost also in the final match 3-0. But they never stood a chance to ever win the tournament. Today, French or Spanish arrived with 100k viewers for the league. How is that bad? So what he's done there is he's gone, right, so Thorin, you've made a point about how talent is established in the elite teams and how competition works and pushes the region up to a higher level. And your point is that because there are French and Spanish orgs biased to people from their country, it will make the league more watered down because it will mainly just be people on the basis they're French or Spanish. You then went, yeah, but EU never stood a chance anyway, and now there's more viewers. So how is that bad? Well, what you just said is a complete non sequitur. It's unrelated to what I said. I mean, you've automatically assumed I said only on the basis of elite competition. You then went, yeah, but viewership's more. What's that going to do with elite competition? Yes, you know what? It's possible for viewership to be higher and that to be bad for elite competition. In fact, I'd even say that also goes hand in hand. That's actually why Mad Lions and Carmine Corp are doing this, because they want more Spanish and more French fans. Now, you can argue that could be better for the business of the LEC, but I think it is almost an argument. You haven't given a reason why against. I think it's almost inarguably bad for the LEC's elite competition, as has been borne out by this season, by the way. Shitter Mad Lions is going to Worlds, and they're going to be terrible there. There's not many more, but get ready. There's some fun ones. Are you ready? This is in League of Legends. Mad Lions had a team that were champions and contenders last year. Pause, that's actually a fact. In the winter split of last year, 2023, they were in the finals. In the spring, they won the championship, and then they also went to Worlds. So last year, Mad Lions had a team that were champions and contenders. If you don't know, this year they made one final when BDS benched a player, never won it. That's the only final they made. They didn't win a single title, and they're now going to Worlds as the 3rd seed. That's it. There was no MSI. They also went to MSI last year as the 2nd seed. This year, their team looks, in January too, their team looks like they won't contend for anything, but since people predicted them to come 10th, it's fine to be a mid-table team and irrelevant because Spain. Wait, what? Are you ready for this mentally ill guy? It's not a Ziwu tweet. What the fuck are you doing, Duncan? You have to tweet about him or you're going to die. So his whole tactic is, even when I'm not tweeting about CS or in CS, even about Ziwu or French people, to him to incessantly go, what about Ziwu? Ziwu, why don't you mention Ziwu? Tweet about Ziwu. And then go, you're obsessed with Ziwu, aren't you, you sicko? You're just thinking about Ziwu now. In fact, the only reason you haven't tweeted about Ziwu is because you want to tweet about him so bad and you want to tweet about him everywhere. And you just mention Ziwu everywhere, even when it's not even applicable. You're the one doing that, you moron. You're mentally ill about Ziwu. I'm talking about League of Legends. Get ready. Last year, Ziwu arguably got robbed of 2 PC Player of the Year awards. Booga took it in 2019 and Faker took it in 2023. Get ready. This is how mental Ziwu fans are. I take it back. You still talk about him. Now, when I talk about Ziwu and say he should have won awards for being the best player in the world on a PC, I'm also an obsessive loser talking about Ziwu. My job is esports historian, you fucking dickhead. This is like someone being a World War II historian, and whenever they mention Hitler, you just go, well, you fucking must love Hitler. No, he's just quite central to the story though, isn't he, dickhead? The question is, why would you mention Hitler a million times if you're not involved in the field? When I say sincerely, I hope you get the help you need, I'm not being flippant or sarcastic. I sincerely mean that. I said they don't care, which was their problem all along. They scored their points. They communicate to their tribe. Now the goblins will pick at your bones and crave their victory. Happy to see you saw a therapist and stop talking about Ziwu. This is called psychological projection. Look it up. It's just everything, bro. Happy 11th birthday to CSGO and all of Ziwu's fans. Listen, you can think what you like. I think that's straight fire, Percy. I think that's fucking amazing. He goes, no, but for real, seek help. For 250 likes max per tweet, you are tweeting 24 of 24 about him. He means 24/7, but he means it 24 hours out of 24 hours in a day. That's a problem. Right, 1, you have no likes on this tweet. On this like, you have 1 like. You're tweeting about him for 1 like. You have 1 like where you tweeting about me. You have 1 like where you tweeting about him here. Let's see about Ziwu again. No one liked this one about Ziwu. Let's go up again. Is there any more about Ziwu? Was there any more? Was that it about Ziwu? Was that it about Ziwu, guys? No, that was it about Ziwu. Last one. Are you ready? Since KRL on his stream had to go on about me when Ziwu won, is it Gamers 8? I think it's Gamers 8 that went in there. Since KRL apparently was just raging about me and me being wrong about Ziwu because I said something about this tournament, I just put rent-free because guess what? This person's watching the tournament, co-streaming it, while screaming about me because I live rent-free in his head. He goes, bro, you good? You haven't stopped tweeting since they won. Right? If a team that, by the way, I actually even like Vitality, but if I appear to not like Vitality, if they win, I'm not allowed to tweet anymore. Why does every one of these person act like a little rich kid who's having all kids come to his house to play and he's the one who gets to decide all the games and all the rules? And you go over there and you're going to be the fireman, she's going to be the cop and you're going to be the... Hey, stop, give her back the... She's going to be the Indian, give her back the arrows, you don't get to... You have to be the cop. Who the fuck are you, you little shitter? You little shitty old... Shut your fucking mouth. Goes, just log out and eat your shame because that's getting pathetic. What does eat your shame even mean? 6 likes. What does it even mean? I published this video. Me defending Kassad, if you remember. Obviously, I had to change some of this shit out. And then in the video... Let's see. Where's this dog shit? Oh, yeah, here we go. Watch how ignorant this comment is. Can you actually see that properly? Oh, there you go. Watch how ignorant this bottom comment is. He goes... They haven't won any tier 2 tournaments. They haven't qualified to any S-tier event or play-in. They played 2 major qualifiers and they failed to get to the RMR. Copenhagen was a reach, but they still played the qualifiers and they lost. They have enough money to pay 5-digit salaries, to have multiple boot camps in Europe. On the other hand, we have B8, TSM, Pain, Saw, Sangul, Gamer Legion, Big, Sashi, Mongols, and more teams on the same level of funding as Bleed All Us. Get ready for where this is going. It's so fucking ignorant. It's why I despise fans on the internet. All made changes to their roster around the time Bleed did. Arguably worse players. All either won tier 2 tournaments or qualified to one of the RMRs, right? So now, by the way, he's acting like Mongols qualifying through the Asian RMR is the same as Bleed trying to qualify through Europe's RMR. So immediately we know this is a disingenuous piece of shit. So he goes... all the play-ins of an S-tier tournament. Get ready for this last paragraph to see how insane the ignorance is. I'm not going to watch this. So he wanted me to read his whole shitty, ill-informed, ignorant comment that's just spurious. Here's a bunch of stats. And at the end he goes, oh, I didn't watch your video or hear any of your arguments. I just need you to hear what I say because I'm important. And these spurious... details that I haven't connected in any way to a principle or a fact just mean that Kassad sucks. So fuck you for making a video defending him. I won't even be watching the video. Just goes, but if it's a video to defend Kassad's Bleed without pointing out that they failed miserably for this year, then this is a dumb video. I don't need to watch this 1.5 hour video because if it's about something I don't know about, then it's dumb. Because taking average ex-tier 1 players to make a tier 2 team, right, we're actually going to act for real. This is how disingenuous they have to be to hate Kassad. They have to act like Cypher is an average tier 1 pro. Now, everyone I know takes tier 1 as like the top 10 to 15 teams in the world. If you took the average player of those, 15 times 5, if you took the average player of those teams... Cypher would be the average. Now, that's an absurd comment. Of course, he'd be below average in tier 1. If anything, he was a tier 1.5 player average, or he was an upper tier 2 player. That would be the charitable way to talk about his career. But let's lie, because we need to lie, even though you're talking about facts and teams. We need to lie to make Kassad bad. Even though, by the way, we also listed like Pain Gaming. They don't compete in the European RMR, by far and away the hardest one. But let's all ignore that. And then he goes... You took average ex-tier 1 players to make a tier 2 team that doesn't compete for anything isn't good GMing. Right, so the GM now is actually responsible for how well the players play. Now, does anyone follow sports? Have you ever seen some GMs that made amazing teams and then the players didn't play and win the game? It's actually one of the things I think's mad about criticism of Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. You might not like when he interferes with the coach or when he gives certain players big contracts, but as a general GM, drafting and trading, he's actually a fabulous GM. He makes playoff-ready teams pretty much every single season that are capable of winning their division, and if actually they had a better quarterback, which certainly he interfered on, maybe they could have even won a Super Bowl by now. Because GMing and then how players play and how coaching works are different, distinct domains with slight overlap. And then he goes, it is just gathering free agents that nobody in Tier 1 truly wants except for Knock. The latter part is a lie as well. The notion nobody wants Nexa is a lie. The notion nobody wants any of these players is a lie. It is a lie. But that's also because he's now using Tier 1 where he made... So think about this, guys. Cypher is an average Tier 1 pro, but no Tier 1 team wants him. I mean, G2 wanted Nexa until recently, by the way, so... We're just going to ignore that. Just ignorance, just pure ignorance. So this lunatic, whoever the fuck this is, just some moron. Here's a good one, where what's funny is, this is someone who, they actually reference me, because since it's in 2020, they're one of those lunatics who like hates Monte. So it starts as like a flame of Monte. So just get ready for this. Get ready for this utter fucking lunatic. So Monte posts explaining why he left the Overwatch League. So a lunatic just goes, God damn it, can you just fade into irrelevance already, please? Right. So if you don't like someone, just tweet at them. Like, can you just go away? Not, just see them and go, oh, I'm not interested, scroll past. Oh, here's a crazy one. You click on his account, you go here, and you go block, and then you never have to see him or mute. But instead of doing that, instead of you taking responsibility for your life and your reality and changing your behavior in line with what you think would be better for your reality, why not just say to the whole of reality in the world, no, you all change only to benefit me. And then if Monty's like, but I want to use my Twitter account to tweet about what I want. No, because I don't want to see it. Why don't you just block or mute me then? Because I don't want to. I want you to just leave. I just don't want you to ever tweet again. So we know if we're starting there, they're unhinged. But let's see where this goes. So then another unhinged individual I've mentioned in the past in a Thorin vs. Blocked. And don't worry, this lunatic will come up in a future one. Because when you find out the addendum to that story, it's even more mental. So this person goes, question mark. So here we go. We now have the person post their unhinged rant from a Discord. So you already know this is going to be amazing. By the way, shout out to Saute Simba and BJL Payne or PA1N for subscribing. This is going to get good already. So let's just read this. From a Discord, why Monte Cristo bad? That was at the top of the screen there. You can't quite see it with a second. Maybe I have to move this down a bit. Yeah, that'll do for now. You can read it. It goes, why Monte Cristo bad? This person, amazing insight, just goes, scuffed caster. By the way, the idea Monte, of all people, would ever be a scuffed caster. By the way, he is probably the best caster in the history of esports for maintaining an incredible on-camera professional sheen and presence and almost never tripping over his words or fucking up. Like, by definition, he would be the antithesis of a scuffed caster. Meanwhile, half the people these idiots love, like Bren, if it's an Overwatch, or Captain Flowers in LC, they scoff their shit all the time. They even just lose track of what they're talking about sometimes. By the way, that's not the end of the world. Monty's exceptional in that regard. But if we're just going to start there, he's scoffed. So let's see what detail and what incredible insights this moron says. They go, I could go into more detail, but basically, essentially, the gist of it is are always load-bearing words for just shite that comes out of this person's mind that they pretend came from Monty. So here we go. Number one, get ready. He really loves to use his platform, this is perfect example, to ridicule random little people like me from groups he doesn't like, most of the time when they haven't even mentioned him. Right, pause. Already, you know there are two situations at play here. One would be they are either someone who got mocked by Monte because they're a moron who said something stupid, deserving of like derision, or even worse, and this is even worse, it's not at all this person, but they've just gone, hey, the person you made fun of is just like me, for real, for real. And I hope you already know by those profiles of the people I just showed you, and the fact that they've gone to ridicule random little people from groups he doesn't like. They're going to try and suggest something mental, like that he hates women or gays or trans. Are you ready? That is clearly, I haven't even read this one, but that is clearly where this is going to go. So get ready for them to go actually mental. Because again, Monte Cristo has never mocked a gay or trans person, has never mocked women for being, he's never done any of these things. What's mad is I haven't, but you could at least say I've made jokes that could be like borderline, but I'm not Monte. So what you don't know about Overwatch fans, guys, about how bad Overwatch fans are, is think about how bad people are to me in League and CS. Now understand, they're so deranged because their Overton window is to the left of Joseph Stalin, that to them, Monte is the evil, bigot, horrible, bad man I am in the games like League and CS. They think Monte is the extreme right-wing fascist, literally voted for Hillary Clinton, by the way. There is the extreme evil right-wing fascist who has like a child and sinisterly went to Asia and impregnated an Asian woman to control her in his white supremacy. That's the sort of mental shit they used to type, by the way, in Overwatch, and contact the Overwatch League and say stuff like, you have to remove him. He works with Thorin and is friends with Thorin. Like, these people are so fucking mentally ill. I like the person who goes, Overwatch still has fans? Yeah, we've literally already showed on screen multiple times. This is from 2020. So are you actually asking, wow, Overwatch League still has fans, Thorin, in 2024, even though you're talking about something from 2020? Hey, guy, hey, I'm walking into a fucking talk, and then Churchill in the latter part of 1944, hey, is this about Churchill and World War? Hey, Churchill won World War II. Like, sit the fuck down and shut up. You aren't actually part of this conversation. You're just a moron, okay? So let's get into this. It goes, for example, this is already going to be mental. Are you ready? For example, he did this to a lot of girls. If anyone believes that he just shit on them for no reason. Get ready. Remember, he just ridiculed random little people he doesn't like, right? Even though most of the time they haven't mentioned him. For example, he did this to a lot of girls that were Overwatch Outlaws fans that were just like tweeting about Overwatch. And he'd RT how these little 100 follower accounts are so cringy and dumb, blah, blah, to his 300k followers. Does anyone actually believe that? Does anyone actually believe? Notice, by the way, this person's so mental. They haven't even said that he just actually does it when they haven't said anything. I mean, they said that earlier because they're a liar. But they've implied here, maybe that person, when they go, they would just tweet your Overwatch. I can already tell you right now, they were almost certainly unhinged stands going like, oh my God, the casters don't know what they're talking about with Outlaws. Outlaws are so dreamy. I love Jake and all that. You just know they were fucking cretins. So if Monte did make fun of them, sounds like, crazy idea, girl. But I think women can be mocked. I know you think this is the Princess and the Pea and you are all God's boss babe bitches and all that shit. But actually, you can be mocked and derided too. And are you ready for the best part? It's not even a crime. It's not a crime at all. You know what it is? It's reality. And if you don't like reality, you can run from it. You can bury your head in the sand. You can even not go on social media. But you know what you can't do? Stop people making fun of you. Tough that, innit? Tough that, innit? So here we go. That was number one, by the way. Point one was that he loves to use his platform to make fun of people that were just like tweeting about OW. If you believe they were just like tweeting about, you're a moron. And by the way, so far, it's actually implied that Monte's never even addressed this person here. Because I think they'd have already come out with their shit story and dined off that already. So here we go. Now we're going to go actually mental in point two. He holds, if not directly bigoted, sexist, anti-LGBT views, then certainly apologises for those views and associates himself with people that do. I'll just pause there because this sentence is so mental. So he holds, if not directly, well, wait a second, which is it? Does he hold bigoted views? Because to say that, you'd have to have hard evidence and know him. So if he doesn't, why even open the door that he might and just go, he holds, If not direct, no, what do you mean? Why? What? Just say he holds not directly bigoted views, but he associates with people. You've purposely left it vague there, and you're obviously full of shit. And by the way, I could go into more detail. Funny you didn't, though. On all the applicable, relevant, significant parts that would actually make your case where you're trying to smear a man on a Discord and then Twitter, you would probably be in a good position if you did that. But of course you forgot to. Silly me. I'm only ranting about this lunatic shite on a Discord, but why would I have any evidence to back it up? So let's read it though. He associates himself with people that do. Right, so what you're going to find later is that Monte said he's never heard me say anything homophobic, which, remember, they don't need any evidence for that, but that must be a lie because I've been told by over 10,000 gay people on the internet, I hate all gay people and want them all to be murdered and think they don't exist and they shouldn't have a right to exist. I've never ever expressed an opinion that came even close to that, ever once in my entire life. I even have many gay friends and I've even defended people, such as, if you know League of Legends, I quite literally went head to head with T1, the biggest Korean org ever, for months because they actually, behind the scenes, I would allege, pulled strings to stop my friend LS, who happens to be gay, from getting a job. Are you ready? I heard on the basis he's gay. And you know what, in Korea? They don't really fuck with that. They sort of soft blacklist you if you're in that kind of position. And it's sort of told, don't mention that and don't show any of that publicly. So it's weird that someone so bigoted like me, anti-LGBT, etc., never been proven in any context, would then secretly hold those views about everyone else in the world who's gay. And then Monte, by associating with me, I guess some of the stink just rubs off on him. As usual, what we're actually doing here is a mentally ill person's going, and you know, Monte's evil. Oh, why? What's he done? You know, he's friends with Thorin. Like, great. Okay, so we got that then. Right, there's 2 strikes. He's made fun of a woman. My God, they've never done anything worthy of derision. There can never be a stupid woman saying nonsense on the internet, not a girl. She even says girls, doesn't even say women. There can never be stupid girls saying stupid shite on the internet, eh? Then it goes here. Are you ready? Let's look what insane views Monte's friends or himself hold, including pretty much outright supporting Trump back in 2K16. Notice again the load-bearing words. She didn't say including people outright supporting Trump back in 2K16, because you know the problem with that? You could never say that Thorin, Richard Lewis, Semler, any of us openly or ever said we supported Trump in 2016. So what you do is you pop the word pretty much in there. Now the problem is you put pretty much, but then you put outright. Well, which is it? If it's outright, it wouldn't be pretty much. Pretty much is what you mean is, again, they didn't do that, but I'm going to say to me, they basically did. Now, do you want to know the real reason people say that definitely me, Richard Lewis and Semler, by the way, of the 3 of us, only Semler could vote in a US election, and he didn't live in the US at the time. Well, I guess he did for Overwatch, but not in 2016. Me and Richard Lewis can't even vote in a US election. So there's that already. But then secondly, do you want to know the piece of evidence they use that proves we support Donald Trump? This is going to blow your mind when you actually think about it. It was an image, I don't have it to hand, someone will probably be able to find it, where after the election night, whatever it was, 9th of November 2016, me, Richard and Anders stayed up in Richard's apartment in Atlanta because we were doing E-League Season 2, I'm going to guess at that point in time. And during E-League Season 2, we watched this election and we're like drinking while we were doing it and messaging people. And once Hillary Clinton lost, notice what I just said there. I didn't say once Donald Trump was elected, and it said on screen, Trump elected, Trump to be new president. What happened is once Hillary Clinton lost, it said on the screen in the back of this photo, something like Hillary Clinton concedes, or Hillary loses. And so what we did is we took a picture of us in front of a TV screen saying Hillary Clinton, I would allege, an evil entity who has no good for humanity and mankind on their mind or in their heart. By the way, if you'd ever cared about things like a guy beginning with the letter E who had an island, you'd have read about that in the 1990s when Christopher Hitchens wrote a book called No One Left to Lie To, where he actually outed Bill Clinton and others for being involved with that individual. But you didn't know that because you don't do research, do you? You might have heard a million conversations about Hillary Clinton, but you never looked into that topic, did you? Me and Anders did. We've read Christopher Hitchens. So because we despise Hillary Clinton, we celebrated with like a beer, like, yay, her losing. That's it. Oh no, are you ready? Are you ready for the other piece of hard evidence that we support Donald Trump? Not that we ever said, Trump for president 2016. Not that we were ever like, wow, love that Trump's in our face. Love this thing that Trump did. Never ever said any of that. What we did is, me and Richard Lewis, who care a lot about truth, integrity, and media, and the way the media covers things, pointed out when the media quite literally, objectively lied about things about Donald Trump. Because my position's always been, if you think Donald Trump is evil and a bigot and all the rest of it and does all these bad things, then you would be best served just sticking to the truth of that and exposing the truth, like that he's a criminal, corrupt, rib, whatever you think about him. If he was all those things, you wouldn't waste a second of your time lying about him and intentionally changing editing or skewing things or lying about how he fed some koi fish in Japan. You wouldn't do any of those things, or what he said about people in a certain town and about them being very fine. You wouldn't lie about that, would you? Because one, when your lie was found, people would know you're a liar. And two, it's literally the president of your country, mate. You'd want to, like, in a fair manner, hold his feet to the fire when he's wrong, but you'd praise him when he did good things. That's called an incentive structure. And he is, in theory, the leader of your country, so you'd want to rally around him when he actually hadn't done things that were wrong. But no, mentally ill people like this made it that Donald Trump was like Satan himself in their worldview. And so anyone who doesn't say death to Donald Trump, I'm going to guess allegedly would be what they'd say, supports him and is even a secret part of a militia. I don't know at this point in time. So let's get into this, shall we? Next one. And he does the quote retweeting thing to ridicule dirty feminists. You know what? I'll even look this one up. I'll do that. Let's have a go. Let's just have a go here. I'm going to put Monte Cristo. I'm just going to do a search. You do know the search function exists on Twitter. And I can tell you right now, Monty's not deleting tweets. So let's see. We'll start with dirty feminists, but we'll move on after that, shall we? So you can see this here, boys. So first things first, I'll put Monte Cristo, dirty feminists, and I found nothing. I haven't found a single tweet ever. Ever. Even though I'm going to guess Monty's done over 100,000 tweets or over 50,000 tweets. Let's just do feminists, right? Feminists. Nothing, not a single tweet ever. Ever in history. Let's do feminist. Not a single tweet ever in history. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just try dirty and see if she just didn't remember the term. Dirty. Because he will have said dirty, wouldn't he? It's about Katie Rolster, dirty Euros. It's about when he went up Kilimanjaro. Someone cheated. Gorty. We're already back to 2016. So we're already back before when she was talking about. So, never happened. Never happened once. What this person's done, another thing deeply unwell, young, often actually from like minority identifying backgrounds do, is they need oppression. They desperately want evil enemies who want to kill them and destroy them and are existentially against them in America, if possible. And so when the supply doesn't meet the demand, they fabricate them. So what they'll do is they'll take someone like Monte Cristo, who has extremely different opinions than me, and go, you're basically Thorin. And in fact, every single right-wing red pill person I don't like. You're Ben Shapiro, you're Stephen Crowder, you're Tim Pool, you're Donald Trump himself. If they get far enough, you're ye old Adolf Hitler. And basically anything they've ever said or done is now a crime of Monte Cristo too. Notice how this is a nutter putting on a Discord, then they're putting it onto Twitter and going back and forth. And so far, not a single thing is even factually based. But let's keep going. Cringy SJWs trying to ruin our video games with desexualizing women and forcing the gay agenda onto us. Right. Two parts there. One, I absolutely know that Monty would agree that it is fucking cringe that people would want, like, for example, Tracer to just have a worse arse. Because they would hate the idea, even though they believe sex work is good and a positive both for women and society, if they know a man for free, like looking at a cartoon arse or some jiggly tits in a fighting game, then those must be removed because that's the male gaze and that's evil. But somehow when the male gaze looks at the OnlyFans/sex worker, that's good. But if the OnlyFans guy just looks at a game, that's bad. Because let's face it, it's the other way around. Lunatics like this came into our space that we existed opinion and was ours long before it was ever theirs. In fact, we were reviled by women and even other people who were mad for being loser nerd gamers. And they came to our and went, what, do you like that? Then I want it removed. And if you then complain, you're the one who's I'm going to gaslight you that you're the weirdo complaining about stuff, even though it's actually us that complained about the thing you like that we don't even care about and got removed. So already we know it's not an honest person here, is it? It's funny how, have you ever noticed when the basis of their identity is untruth, literal lies, their whole life becomes lies? It's why it's so important to always tell the truth and have integrity. Not only will it mean you won't lose yourself, but when you lie, you cross a little Rubicon that makes another lie easier. And when you lie about small things, you'll lie about medium things. And you lie about medium things, you'll lie about big things. And eventually, once you've lied enough, a lie just becomes your go-to tool. And you know what? When all you've got's a hammer, every problem starts to look like a nail. You'll start lying to get out of everything. And so what you'll do if you're this individual is, when someone calls out like, well, what's he really done that's that bad? You won't go, oh, I've got kind of like my own complex and my own problem. And I tend to just group together a bunch of people I don't consider real humans and just say they're all some stinky monolith that has these opinions. And so even though I don't really have any reason to hate Monte Cristo, I'm just going to say all these nonsense lies about him and then hope that you don't investigate and Thorin doesn't break it down in a video or shit he does 4 years later. Damn it. So, okay, this last part, by the way, if you know Monte Cristo in League of Legends, or you ever watched Flashpoint, or you ever watched Overwatch League, I'll just leave this part to you, the viewer. I won't even say what I think about this part. But of all the people, out of my circle of people, me, Richard Lewis, do you actually think Monty has ever, in any context, literally or indirectly, ever expressed the opinion that he doesn't want them to force the gay agenda onto us? Do you actually think that's real, by the way? I'll just leave it up to you on this one. You get a little bit of audience interaction. I won't say whether it's true or not. I'll just say I'll leave that one to you. I'll just say nothing like that ever happened. This person is deeply unwell. But let's see where it goes from here. This is just the opening gambit. Monty comes in because back then he made the mistake of reading replies and just goes, what the fuck are you talking about? Because remember, he outright associates people who supported Trump. And he says, I never did any of these things and I voted for Clinton in 2016. This is some insane conspiracy bullshit. Get ready for the instant walk back into more lies. That's what all the mentally ill people, they'll never just go, my apologies, I have just lied openly and privately about you, your being, who you associate with, and things you've said. I've even, by the way, quoted things you never said, even though that's what quotation marks are for. They are to say this person literally said dirty feminist, literally said passing a gay agenda. So even though I've lied openly and blatantly about what you've said, I won't apologise, because remember, I've decided you're the devil, aka bad, so I can never be wrong since you're evil and I'm good. And since you're evil, I can never do you wrong. So why would I apologise to you? That would involve, a bit of perspective, self-awareness, and personal integrity, things I don't have. I'm dickhead Fusha in this case. Freudian slip there. Okay, look. No. There's no okay, look. You've said this person says like they're forcing get. There's no okay, look. We're not going to okay, look. That makes it sound already like you've taken it down from like a fucking 5-alarm fire to like, well, maybe it's just smouldering a little bit. No. Keep that same energy, bruh. I don't think that you yourself are actually sexist or homophobic in the way they are used colloquially. He wouldn't be in any dictionary definition sexist or homophobic. And then, are you ready? So okay, look, I don't think you actually are sexist or homophobic. Let's go back to this. He holds, if not directly bigoted, sexist, or homophobic. Why put if not? You've instantly backed down and said you agree he isn't those things. And then you just say he associates with them. So let's see where you go next. Then you go, I think pretty much everyone, including myself, is bigoted in some ways. Weird, that reads very differently from this, doesn't it? This doesn't say, I would suspect that whether he said it or not, Monty is in some sense bigoted, because aren't we all? Because, first of all, what purpose would that serve when you were explaining literally at the top why Monte Cristo is bad? And in this post, why he just needs to fade into irrelevance already. By the way, does the fact you already said he associates with, if not is, a Trump supporter, but then he's just told you he voted for Hillary in that literal election, does that not already make you question, maybe I'm the mad one? Wait a minute. You mean on Shutter Island I'm not a detective? I'm actually an inmate too. So let's keep going. Because with all these messages, it's going to get more mental. I do, however, think that you apologise for and associate with as some of your closest friends in the industry who say casually sexist, homophobic, racist, etc. things. And I think that doing so is also harmful. By the way, it's not harmful to lie about people and be completely wrong factually and say quotes that they never said. That's not harmful because it can never be harmful because reasons. This person's just allergic to responsibility. Well, then again, you could tell that by the screenshot, couldn't you? Yeah. That sort of goes par for the course, doesn't it? As it perpetuates a gaming community. By the way, you weren't in this gaming community. We were here years before you. It was ours. We built it. And now you're going to come in and go, I don't know, Monte, if I can really allow you to be in my gaming industry, because you're sort of perpetuating ideas that I think are hard. No one gives a fuck. Go start your own, you little shitter. Oh, that's right. My bad, you've only got 2,700 followers. You wouldn't really have a community, would you? You're actually part of a bigger community, our community. And what's funny is we've never said you can't be part of our community. Just you've tried to do that to us, which is literally how our hobby began. What happened is we were forced out of every other mainstream hobby. So we went, fuck it, I'll just become a nerd and a gamer, I guess, and read comic books and play weird video games, turn-based games on my PC. And I'll just stay indoors all day while you're all doing fuck knows what with Pokemon cards and Pogs and all the rest of that shit. And then eventually we made that hobby so cool that you then started to do it and then went, hey, you don't fucking belong here in this esports thing, my community. You vote for Trump. And then he goes, actually, I voted for Clinton. Well, besides, you know someone who did. So let's keep going. That is unwelcoming to women and LGBTQ folk in general, right? Notice how it's never like innocent women or that. Their logic is you must literally bow like a slave and worship every word and deed of every woman and gay person to ever enter the industry. And if you don't, I will smear you and lie about you and make fake quotes about you on Discords and then publish it on Twitter and tell you to leave your own community. But remember, none of this is harmful because remember, when you're in that fucked up world where there's only three possible things, there is a victim, there is an oppressor, and there is a savior. You can only be one of the three. And when you're the victim, you're always the victim. And when Monte's the oppressor, he's always the oppressor. And then in this case, I guess if you thought someone else was the victim, you get to be the savior, don't you? And it has to remain like that, otherwise it gets uncomfortable. There's sort of like nuance to who people are, isn't there? So then here we go. And every time you get called out for these things, you double down on your views. That's never happened. The idea he was called out and he lied and he just went, yeah, I doubled down on being sexist and all that. And free speech absolutism. By the way, there's no such thing as free speech absolutism. There is either free speech or there is, by definition, unfree speech. There's no, yeah, well, you're just an extremist about free speech. These people, by the way, most of them are left-wing. That's the most mental thing. You do know, literally, historically, the bastion of free speech is the left. But these cretins are so stupid, they don't know they're the evil ones. And as they're putting you into a gulag, they're going, you know, this guy thought he could just speak freely about the government. As they put you into a gulag. They don't even have basic self-awareness. Are you ready? Rather than reflecting on what harm your actions might actually take. Yeah, remember, Monte's words do harm in the world, but their policies and the people they support don't do any harm at all. Ask the people of Haiti what voting for Hillary Clinton might have done if that would have caused them any harm. Ask what goes on around that certain islands around that area to do with that individual. Would that cause any harm? One, which is, in my opinion, the most problematic example of this. No, bro, you had your chance. Why didn't you post this before when you were asked privately why you hate Monte Cristo? Why was he bad? Why are we now pulling up different tweets when Monte's actually just basically stepped up to you and said, you're full of shit? You're going, yeah, man, but I'll do it. Well, you do still like around with people. So here we go. Continued platforming and general defense of Thorin, even after he has said many things that are very off base and harmful. Like, let's go through this. So continued platforming. He keeps doing shows with me. That's his crime. About esports, by the way. General defense. You can never defend your friends because this person's decided your friend is wrong. Therefore, you're wrong. Therefore, reflect on the fact that I'm saying you're wrong and stop being friends with them or leave my community, Fuchsia's Overwatch community. Can you see if this person might be broken in their brain a little bit? So you ready? One example. Oh, by the way, I say things very off base. Right? By the way, when did saying things off base become a crime? By the way, you're a free speech absolutist if you believe you should be allowed to say things that are off base or wrong, in other words. Billy, what is 2 add 2? 5. Send him to a gulag. That is not correct. He is spreading dangerous and harmful misinformation. The other children might copy his example. To a gulag, sir. What do you mean you think you should be allowed to be wrong? You are a free speech absolutist. Then he goes, and harmful. Again, right? These people, by the way, you know the Overwatch scene now is run by Saudi Arabia, where they still, including during the esports awards and esports World Cup, execute people by beheading them, including political dissidents. So in a world where Overwatch is run by people who behead people, do you imagine this person's never involved with Overwatch now? Of course, we know that's not the way it works. That was never the way this worked. This is a stupid little game of dishonesty. One example, after Thorin defended Moore saying a word people call the F slur. So I defended Moore saying that word. Now, anyone who's seen my Thorin versus Frankie Ward video, I got a whole 20-minute thing in there. Well, what I actually did was explain to the etymology of the word that it didn't in history only mean one thing. And I explained towards the end that if you work in esports, you shouldn't say it'd be bad for your career. And also that if you were ever using that term specifically to discriminate against someone who is gay, then that is unacceptable was the words I used. But when it's rewritten by a lunatic, it's that I defended him saying the word. The implication is with the meaning that they want to impute to that word. Example one, this is where he defended me. He said, I have spoken to Thorin for hundreds of hours and he has never said anything to make me believe he's LGBT in any way. Furthermore, he has created hundreds of hours of content with multiple LGBT creators, some of whom are open, others not. Like, that's an evil defense of someone who definitely just hates gay people and is harmful. And continues to, after Thorin said Alex Jones was a G. So when I said Alex Jones is a G, because his shit's hilarious, and everyone on the internet, by the way, before about 2016 thought something, he had legendary fucking meme videos. So because I said that, Monte can't be friends with me or ever associate with me because I said Alex Jones is a G. Do you understand why when people talk about misinformation, disinformation and harmful speech, it's the other way around? They're a lunatic trying to literally lock you up, destroy your livelihood on the basis they think you might have an idea they don't agree with. Not you've ever done anything evil. You haven't even spread an incorrect opinion. You just don't agree with you. Let's go. There's some more. There's some more receipts, as the kids say. And many others endorses him as one of the best journalists in the scene. Right, so because I said Alex Jones is a G and defended this word, well, I didn't do that, did I? I now can't even be defended for being really good at journalism, where I'm the greatest interviewer in the history of the field. And talk show host. Here's a good one. The part about Outlaw fans can be had by just scrolling through his Twitter casually. But also, unfortunately, I couldn't find any examples of him specifically, quote, retweeting Outlaws fans because most of the original tweets have been deleted from 6 months ago and I didn't keep an archive. I'm just going to go ahead and say that's immediately a lie. If you actually believe Monte went back and just deleted all the tweets where he made fun of Outlaws fans, I just think they never existed. I think that's what I think. So let's look at what an outrageous, harmful thing he tweeted. He put, I don't have a costume for Halloween yet, but I'm thinking about changing to an anime avatar on Twitter and standing some young men so I can be the creepiest things in esports, an Outlaws fan. My God. Fucking hell. Is this your most important exhibit of evidence, sir? Yes, this is damning. This is a smoking gun. Here's another good one. For generally quote retweet. So we've already now just gone to just quote retweet anyone and make fun of them. If you ever do that, you are evil and bad and you should literally leave the internet and never tweet again. So here we go. Unavailable. He goes, I'm already lying in my bed at home. Well, my God, how could he ever do that, eh? Let's see some of the other ones though. This guy goes, do you have a display like this with far more tallies, times I was right? He goes, there isn't enough paper in the universe to tell you the number of times I've been right. Right, you guys are going to have to explain to me. Why would this be a bad tweet to make? Look, he's using the quote retweet function. He hasn't even made fun of him. He's joined in the joke. No, but he quote retweets people to 300,000 people. I think you're unhinged, mate. I think there's something really unwell about you. Let's keep going. Let's see the next piece of evidence. It's laughable that people think something I like is bad. It's like this person doesn't know me at all. My God. Oh my God, it's so evil and harmful what he's doing. And he's friends with Thorin. Look at this one. I'm regularly embarrassed by how plebeian everyone else is. That's so fucking damaging. Shit. It's just so damaging. This person then just goes, are these mundane tweets supposed to illustrate some point? I love it. By the way, mega hater of Monte. Convenient doesn't have any screenshots. Weird how that works, isn't it? Pretty good though, wasn't it? That was pretty fire, what it was. This was just the shite that Monte said, remember? Everyone needs a support network, and mine is, of course, my Patreon community, the Scrominati, who, in many ways, they're the Sonny to my Cher, saying, I got you, babe. So this video and all the others on my channel were kindly supported by the following names: Ahmed Hadjou, Mac Pugnatio Rajcula, Adam Tomlin, Animosity, Jensen Goh, Tosh, Thooorin, and you know it. Jerky's Minion, my main man, always going to be referenced, one of the best patrons of all time. Would you like to ask a question in my AMA? Maybe you want to suggest a topic or a guest to say on my channel? Do you want teasers? Find out who the upcoming Reflections and Talk to Thorin interviews are. Maybe you want to do one of those long discussions where you get to set the topics we talk about. Well, if any of these or others appeal to you, put your money where your mouth is. Join the Scluminati today via the Patreon link in the description box below.